I believe this in my core of my heart. You will not have a free and fair election as we know them today in the United States of America if Speaker Jeffries is not sworn in a year plus from now. I really believe.
Welcome back to Arab. And before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe, because today we're going to look carefully at two political stories that have been widely discussed in recent days. The first involves recent remarks by California Governor Gavin Newsom, and the second involves changes in the architectural team working on a White House construction project. As always, we're going to stay neutral, avoid repeating claims that have not been confirmed, and rely on reporting from reputable sources. Let's start with the comments by Governor Newsom. At a public event, he expressed concern about what he described as potential risks to democratic processes in the United States. His speech used strong language and included comparisons to political developments in countries such as Russia, Hungary, and Turkey. These comparisons relate to a political science concept, sometimes called competitive authoritarianism, which refers to political systems where elections exist but are influenced in ways that limit genuine political competition. Newsom argued that certain trends should be taken seriously, even if they are debated, and he encouraged the public to pay closer attention to how democratic norms operate. Newsom also mentioned that the United States is approaching its 250th anniversary in 2026. His point was that the country is at a historic moment that should encourage reflection about constitutional systems and civic participation. Some of the examples he mentioned, such as law enforcement deployments and federal actions, have generated different interpretations depending on political viewpoints. Because these points involve ongoing political debates, news outlets have generally described his claims as his viewpoint rather than as established fact. What we can say confidently is that he made these remarks publicly and that they have been widely covered. His speech also ties into a larger national discussion about polarization, the role of federal government institutions, and questions about how elections are administered. It is common for public officials to raise concerns during election cycles, and reactions to such statements usually reflect broader political positions. Supporters may view these comments as necessary warnings, while critics may consider them exaggerated. Regardless of opinion, the main confirmed information here is that Newsom expressed concern and linked his comments to debate about democratic health. Before we continue, please take a moment to like and subscribe, because our goal is to offer calm explanations rather than jumping into political excitement or speculation. Now let's turn to the story involving the White House construction project. Several major U.S. news organizations have reported that the project to build a new ballroom has changed architects. Reports citing people familiar with the project stated that the previous architectural firm is no longer involved, and a new firm with experience working on government buildings in Washington, D.C., has taken over design responsibilities. Different explanations have appeared in reporting. Some sources say the previous team faced challenges related to deadlines or design expectations. Other descriptions have framed the change as voluntary. Because these explanations come from unnamed sources, media outlets present them as reported information rather than official statements. What has seemed consistent is that construction preparation has continued. News photos have shown heavy equipment, cranes, and building materials on site, suggesting active work. These visual details come from photographs published by recognized media, so we can treat that as confirmed evidence of ongoing construction. It is also important to note that changes to the White House have occurred many times during different administrations, including renovations and extensions for official events or security requirements. Some observers have raised concerns about historical preservation, noting that the White House is a national landmark. Others point out that presidential administrations traditionally oversee building projects to support government functions. Because of the symbolic nature of the White House, opinions may be strong even when the work itself is administrative. At this stage, major news outlets have not reported confirmed legal findings regarding the architectural change. Most reporting focuses on administrative decisions, project management, and public reaction. From a neutral perspective, the important takeaway is that a new architectural firm is reportedly involved, construction appears active, and public discussion continues. While some opinions suggest the project raises symbolic or historical questions, Large federal buildings frequently undergo renovations, and contractor changes are not unusual in major projects. If we connect both stories, one common theme is that political information can quickly become intense or symbolic. A speech that uses strong warnings may be interpreted differently depending on someone's expectations, while a construction decision may be seen as either practical or significant. For viewers, the challenge is not to jump from reported details to broad conclusions without evidence. Careful evaluation means separating confirmed facts from commentary. Please remember again to like and subscribe, because our approach is to examine what is known, acknowledge what is debated, and avoid repeating claims that do not have reliable sources. Returning briefly to the broader picture, discussions about democracy, public institutions, and political authority are likely to continue as the next U.S. election approaches. Political communication often becomes more forceful in election periods, and public figures may highlight risks they see as urgent. In the same period, actions by presidential administrations, including construction decisions, tend to be examined closely. Especially when national symbols are involved, even technical decisions may receive political attention. Another thing worth noting is that political stories often overlap with public emotions. People may react strongly because they care deeply about national identity or democratic values. But understanding events requires distinguishing between what is factually confirmed and what is interpretation. Trusted news organizations usually try to separate those categories by stating when information comes from official sources, when it comes from unnamed individuals, and when a statement represents someone's belief rather than a verified fact. As we approach the end of this discussion, I want to emphasize that staying calm and informed is especially valuable when news feels tense. By looking directly at reliable reporting, we can better understand what is actually happening rather than reacting only to dramatic commentary. And once again, please like and subscribe, because we plan to keep covering these issues from a careful and neutral perspective.